Doug Excel video number 2 for Excel beginners, cell references and errors. Today I'm going to look at cell references and some kind of errors that you'll find when you're writing formulas in Excel. You open a spreadsheet and you see some errors and you see some referencing that can kind of be strange for a first-time user for Excel. I'm going to get into that and try and explain it a little bit. In my last video, I was looking at the Excel environment. I looked at the sheet tabs there, the QAT or Quick Access Toolbar. Mike Gervin likes to call it the QAT. I kind of like that name and I adopted it. Thanks, Mike, for that. There's the insert here, page layout, all these tabs. We looked at each one of them and what they're able to do so that you can locate from the ribbon here whatever tool that you would like to utilize in Excel. We looked at the name box, the formula launch wizard, the formula bar, column headings, row headings, cells, ranges, and arrays. We also looked at sheet names, how to rename them, how to add sheets, the scroll bar, horizontal and vertical, and the magnifier down here. We also looked at how to use the layout view in terms of normal, page layout, and page break. I'll quickly delve into cell references and talk about what a cell reference is. So when you think about it, if you are you're trying to add two cells or you're trying to copy a formula downwards or the left or the right, imagine you have numbers, say you have 2 here, 3 there, you have 4 there, you have 5. If I come to this cell where there's a 3 and I drag this formula to the right, this will also be a 3. Excel is actually copying this formula into here. It's also copying this formula into here. Now, that's a number. So imagine I'm using cell references. So I start with an equal sign and refer to the cell, one cell to the left. So I am in column B. I'm referring to column A2 so that I can bring the value of what is in A2 into B. That is called a cell reference. If I press enter, you'll find it gives me a 3. If I come to this quick fill handle, when you move away the cursor, when you move back to this dot in the corner, it becomes a black plus or a cross. Mike also calls it a crosshair or angry rabbit. I like that angry rabbit bit. When you drag with the crosshair downwards, it will copy the formula, but it will also copy the referencing style. So it was referring one cell to the left. Even the copied part will also refer one cell to the left. Even the last bit will refer one cell to the left. Now, there's a way to tell Excel not to relatively move the formula. It will be able to fix or look at a particular cell that you want to point to, or a particular column, or a particular row. A good example that you would see for that is if I came to this cell here, let me delete this to avoid confusion. If I came to this formula here that's referencing cell A2, you can see that in the formula bar, and I put a $sign in front of the A, that's shift 4, and I also put a $sign in front of the 2, that's shift 4. It's still cell A2, but the $sign is actually telling Excel that don't move from column A, don't move from row 2. In short, I have fixed the reference to A2. If I press Ctrl Enter there to enter and leave the same cell selected, and I drag this formula downwards, the formula everywhere it's copied will still refer to cell A2 and not relatively the way it was moving. So the initial part without the $signs is relative cell referencing. When you put the $signs in front of the column reference, in front of the row reference, this becomes fixed cell reference. There's also another type called mixed cell reference, where, let me delete that. If you fix only one side or lock one side, Imagine in this instance, I lock the row reference and I press Ctrl Enter. It is referring to cell A2 quite alright, but it's telling me I can't move away from column A. So if I copy this formula downwards, it will copy relatively to the left because I have not locked the rows. So the formula is free to move from row 2 here to row 3 to row 4. However, should I copy this formula to the right, the formula will look the same. It looks like I'm copying 3 across. But when I come to this cell, it's showing me that I'm referencing cell A2. If I come here, I am referencing cell A2, which is the same cell, so I'm not moving from the column A, and even here it is referencing the same. So downwards it is copying, to the right it is fixed on column A. If I do the same thing again, but this time change what I have locked and lock the row part, the row reference, Shift 4, and remove the $ in front of the column reference, Control Enter, it will copy all right. When I copy this formula down, this is still locked on row 2. This will be locked on row 2. However, should I copy it to the right, it still gives me the 3s, but in this situation, it's moved to referring one cell to the left, which is cell B. The last one is also referencing cell C, C2, as you can see, referring to one cell to the left. This scenario is called relative mixed cell reference. Let me give an example of what a colleague of mine I tried to do after seeing a video from Mike again. He typed in 1, 2 there, then highlighted the both to force Excel to remember that there's a pattern here, and copied them across to say up to 10. Then came down here. I'm sure you can figure out what I'm trying to do. Everyone who's done elementary mathematics will have come across this situation of a multiplication table. Now, multiplication tables are not the easiest to do. Now, imagine I wanted to write a formula here that's multiplying 1 times 1 in this cell, in cell B2. If I come to cell C2, it's multiplying 2 times 1. I would have to write this formula many times in order to finish writing this. And that is the reason cell referencing is so powerful, because it can reference different sections of the sheet and you copy it as long as you follow a logic. So let me quickly do cell referencing and an example where you can multiply top to the left and copy the formula. Write it once and copy it everywhere else and it should be able to work. So let me use a trick that I learned online from my online guys. You highlight the range where you want to copy the formula across, and then you start building the formula in the active cell. So I say equals, then I click on the cell above, then I ask myself a question. If I copy this formula to the right, I need the dancing ants here, which are referring to cell B1, to move to the right, C when I come here, to move to D when I move to D2, to move to 4, and all the way up to K. But if I copy this formula downwards, I need the dancing ants to remain on top. So what I'm saying is I should lock it on the row and leave it free to move across the letters, which are the columns, meaning that I should put a $ only in front of the number part, which is the row, and leave the letter part, which is the column heading, free to move. And by hitting F4, it actually introduces the $. You don't have to type them in all the time. So you hit F4 once, you hit it twice, make sure that the number part is the one that is locked. Then you're multiplying. You multiply to the left and ask yourself the same questions. If I copy this formula across, what do I want to do? I want it to remain here when I copy across columns and move downwards relatively when I copy across rows. So I'll hit F4 once, twice, 3 times to lock the number part. And the magic of highlighting in advance so that I can copy everywhere highlighted, you hit Control Enter, and just like that, your multiplication table works. Takes a bit of time, but you get used to it. My next video will look at errors and how to handle errors. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button below and hit the like so that you can get notified every time a new video like this comes out, and you can totally follow along from beginners to advanced. This is an Excel series when I'm